second edition of Nemo Judex Chamber's annual lecture series and journal presentation came and gone, but the memory, impact of an intellectual event of such magnitude, with topics setting the agenda for the next generation in Akwa Ibom State, will continue to influence its audience in a positive way and linger forever, considering the intellectual pedigree of the speakers at the event.
Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, before you came in here, we had taken time to recognize and introduce almost all the persons and the personalities that are here. Your Excellency, I know that our time has been fast spent because also I engaged this later in the day. Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to crave your indulgence that we go ahead because we had already made introductions. And because of that, I want to have the honor and privilege to welcome the Chairman Planning Committee, the man behind this idea, this distinguished jurist, the consultant to Nemo Judex Chambers, Honorable Justice Ifyok Okana, retired, for his remarks why we are here.
Mr. Chairman of the occasion, keynote speaker, His Excellency Obong Victor Atta, father of modern-day Akwa Ibom State, guest of honor, special guest of honor, panelists who will be opportune to discuss, committed sons and daughters of Akwa Ibom State, ladies and gentlemen. Nemo Judex law firm offers what every other law firm offers by way of legal services. But we decided to look beyond legal services and dovetail into dealing with issues that concern not just the state, but the country and even the international community, in the belief that unless it is well with the community or the nation or the world, it cannot be well with you.
He said last year the Chambers looked into the issues of restructuring because it was a burning issue. As the years, the Chamber will focus on situations in Akwa Ibom State to offer alternative and present a working document for the future leaders.
Last year, we looked at the issue of restructuring because it was a burning issue. And His Excellency Ambassador Sam was the lead speaker on that outing. This year, election is around the corner. And in Akwa Ibom State, there is that urgency to address certain issues. More particularly, in view of the upheaval across the country, where the rate of unemployment is skyrocketing, businesses are folding up, there's discontent across the land. Nemo Judex Chambers decided to focus on the situation in this state. And we deem it appropriate, and particularly we are blessed as to the choice of the keynote speaker. Couldn't have been better. And we also bear in mind that there are a number of young Akwa Ibomites who are aspiring to positions of leadership, more particularly to be the governor of this state. And we deemed it fit that if we brought them together here and they listened to Obong Victor Atta, they might challenge him on some issues, they might offer alternatives, and at the end of the day, we will leave there enriched, and there will be a working document for those who intend to lead us the next dispensation to work on. That is why this meeting is convened.
On his part, the chairman of the occasion, Right Honorable Chief Ndweso Essien, in his opening remarks while welcoming participants, commended Nemo Judex Chambers for the initiative of bringing people together to discuss the affairs of the state and nation at large.
I commend Nemo Judex Chambers for this initiative. I think it's very rare to see an indigenous businessman undertake to bring people together to discuss the affairs of the nation, the affairs of the state, the way this company has done. I had thought that social responsibility of a company was only for foreign companies, not knowing that indigenous companies can also undertake. So I believe that a few other indigenous companies will emulate this example and let it prevail, so that we can use opportunities like this to reverse the rot that has come into our society, into our communities, into our state. It was never like this.
The keynote speaker and former executive governor of Akwa Ibom State, architect Obong Victor Atta, in his thought-provoking presentation, called for the understanding of the need of the people, which without such understanding, setting the agenda for the next generation in Akwa Ibom State will be a fruitless exercise like building a castle in the air.
To set an agenda, you have to understand the needs of the people. Without such an understanding, we would at best be building castles in the air, or worse than that, we would just be wasting our time.
He recommended for a revisit of Akwa Ibom State's Economic and Entrepreneurial Development Strategy, ACSET, and Akwa Ibom Local Government Economic and Entrepreneurial Development Strategy, ACLET, documents, calling on a socio-economic savings in the state while reviving and vigorously pursuing rural programs earlier imitated by his administration.
You all this because when you want to set an agenda, we have to build on the foundation of what there is and what we have. So what do I recommend? I therefore recommend that we go back and take a look at an ACSET document. How many know what ACSET is? Akwa Ibom State Economic and Entrepreneurial Development Strategy. How many people have heard that before? But the documents exist. It's a 30-year development program for economic development of Akwa Ibom State. We went down to something that's called ACLET, Akwa Ibom Local Government Economic and Entrepreneurial Development Strategies. Ebebokbong, you are here? Good. I don't know whether we completed them for all the 31 local governments. Maybe that's why we didn't publish them. But we have ACSET, we have ACLET. And those are documents that I would recommend for anybody that wants to govern Akwa Ibom. Please go and look at them.
Obong Atta regretted that the development of Ibaka Deep Sea Port, completion of maintenance, repair and overhaul of MRO facility at the airport, development of Science Park and establishment of Akwa Ibom State University of Technology would have taken place in Akwa Ibom State before the Sheraton Hotel if there was an agenda setting.
This is where the controversy comes, and I'm ready for it. If you ask me today, I still believe that we should have developed Ibaka's deep sea port before the Sheraton 4 Points Hotel, because the seaport would certainly be functioning by now and would have given birth to many more such hotels. And that is a fact. If we are a seaport, we are going to build some more of such hotels. I still also believe that we should have completed the building of the maintenance, repair, and overhaul MRO facility at the airport, because before we did the Tropicana, because the funds generated from the MRO would have provided us with many Tropicanas, not only in Uyo, but almost in every senatorial district. I still also believe that we have continued with the development of our science park and the establishment of our Special University of Technology, because the future of Akwa Ibom State must be driven by research and technology. Finally,
I want to respectfully bring up these persons over to this other side so that the discussions will commence. First, I have the honor and privilege to introduce and welcome over to this side one of the gubernatorial aspirants of the People's Democratic Party, a man who graduated from the University of Lagos, where he studied business administration. He thereafter proceeded to the University of Calabar for his MBA in banking and finance. He started working in the bank. He's worked for over 2 decades in the bank. He started his banking career with the CBN. He's not an aspirant. Okay, thank you. Please, can we put your hands together? Okay. So let me invite for discussions the Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Deep Sea Project, Mr. Kanokun. Please put your hands together for him as he comes over here. Let me also invite distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another distinguished personality, a man that has saved the state as a commissioner for finance. He is a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he is the chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream, distinguished Senator Basi Albert Akpan. On this segment, lastly, I have the honor and privilege to introduce and welcome this very distinguished Akwa Ibom son. He is a registered estate surveyor and valuer. He likes being introduced as that man who comes from Ikorayan, Itam, Initu, whose father was a farmer. He is a registered member of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. He is a Christian businessman, a philanthropist, a Christian, a politician, and someone that is widely traveled. He is a patriot and a pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Help me welcome Mr. James Inyama. Please put your hands together for him. Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, the special guest of honor, the very distinguished guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, these very distinguished personalities had listened very attentively to that wonderful paper that was presented to us by our former governor, father of modern Akwa Ibom State, the apostle of resource control. It is time for them to discuss that paper. And so we would give every of them 10 minutes each to begin the discourse. So every one of them will have a mic to himself.
Your Excellency, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Obon Victor Atta, ladies and gentlemen, due to want of time, I will be allowed to stand on the existing protocol. Your Excellency, I want to thank you for a very thought-provoking presentation. In summary, what you have just highlighted is the true position in Africa. The bane of underdevelopment in Africa is as a result of inconsistency in policy implementation. That is exactly what you have just said. And I want to say that you are a great visionary and a dreamer for our state, Akwa Ibom State. In the years that you were the governor of this state, you implemented those programs and projects that will lead to an improvement in the standard of living of Akwa Ibom people. Projects that were capable of providing employment opportunities for our people. But like you've just summed it up, lack of consistency in policy implementation has led to not realizing the full potentials of this project. And I want to say that the level of development that we have witnessed in the advanced countries is achieved as a result of doing the right thing consistently. And this is done by having a plan in place. And I'm happy that our state, under Governor Emmanuel, we are making this step by putting in place a long-term plan, a 30-year development plan. And this plan will be implemented using the medium-term expenditure framework, which is a 3 to 4 yearly paper that allows the development plan to be implemented, taking into consideration the prevailing economic situation at any given point in time. Your Excellency, you mentioned Ibom Deep Seaport. I want to thank you for this vision. And I want to thank Governor Emmanuel for ensuring that in your lifetime is doing everything possible that will lead to the realization of this project. This project will be a game changer for Akwa Ibom State economy.
I'm going to speak glowingly to the paper as presented. It is not out of place where we define Obon Victor Atta as the father of modern Akwa Ibom. The Bible always says that a vision is for an appointed time. God gives one man a vision, and others come and build on it. Akwa Ibom State is a project. Like they say, it said, soldier come, soldier go, but barracks they. He had laid the foundation for modern Akwa Ibom State. And if you look at most of the key things he has talked about in this document, there are things that are there for all to see. I was privileged to be in Harvard in 2017 in one of the leadership trainings that we attended. And we made to know very clearly that in 3 to 4 years' time, that is not only oil that will rule the world, that data and technology will rule the world. And in less than 3 years, if you look at the top 5 companies in the world today, they are all technology companies. So that's a man who saw where the world was heading in 2007.
Your Excellency Obon Victor Atta, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, patriots of Akwa Ibom State, I am indeed delighted that we are gathered here today. And I must commend my friends, retired Justice Okanam, Barrister Owamekanam, for taking this initiative. And I am wishing that Akwa Ibom State people would have had an opportunity of watching the proceedings here live, so that this conversation will be continuous until we get where we ought to be. Thank all of you very much indeed. And Obon Atta, in my mind I call him our sage, has very well articulated some of the challenges that I find in the midst of us most of the times. But I know today we have been invited by our friends to discuss our home, Akwa Ibom State, our people, our future, our prosperity. And all of those will be anchored on how much we know our people. Obon Atta begins to speak to us because he knows our people. This gentleman grew on Barrett Road, Uyo. So he knows the place. when he talks about the topography of Uyo, he would have probably been talking about the streets he ran on in the rain as a young man, probably a boy. So he knows his people, and he's able to articulate our situations as clearly as he knows them.
Comments and goodwill messages by Professor Okun Ansa, Professor Akpan Eko, Mrs. Fumi Idomesit Nkanga, Justice Ntem Iswa, former Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Tony Afia, Chairman Planet FM and Spectrum TV, Honorable Uwem Udoma, former Deputy Speaker, Senator Ibok Essien, founder, Brickman University, among others.
Is going to challenge those who want to govern us beyond from 2023 onwards. I'm just going to take 1 or 2 or 3 points for them to think about, because governance is people. If you don't relate with people, if you don't govern people, all of the big things you're talking about come to nothing.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, finally, I want to invite this great lady, a jurist, and the former Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Justice Idomesit Temiswa, CON, for her comments for the next 2 minutes. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Oban Victor Ota, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, since we are talking about the agenda, setting the agenda, I want to make 1 or 2 comments. First, I want to appreciate His Excellency, our former governor, for a very wonderful presentation. I agree with everything you said there. Those things that you started should have been continued, but unfortunately they were not. I hope the Science Park and other things will be continued. Those that are in the making now, that they will put more effort so that they will realize it will come to fruition. But I want to say that from my own observation, the people we elect into office, we elect in quotes. Maybe it's because the election is in quotes. I want to say that we should try to conduct elections so that those people would know that they are actually accountable.
Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo for his submissions. Please put your hands together for Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo. It wouldn't be proper for us to have him here and he does not speak to us for a few minutes.
The Governor of our state, Excellency Oban Victor Ota, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, everything has been said, but I think it would be improper if Governor Victor Ota is giving a lecture and I don't say something, because I was one of the unpaid advisors to the governor on economic matters and part-time chairman of Akipok. I want to say, as all has been said, that yes, he laid the foundation, but one of the qualities I like about him is that